Hello everybody. Today we're going to study the simple past tense. In fact, it's a review about the simple past tense that we studied in the previous levels. I mean, in the beginners, elementary, and now we're going to have a review. Okay? So let's start. Usage. The simple past tense is used to describe finished action in the past tense. It means what? The action finished in the past is different from the present and the future. When you use the verb eat in the present, you say I eat pizza. But when you say in the past tense, we have to pay attention to the past actions. Example, last week, yesterday, last night, last weekend. So as you see, we have a sentence here in the past tense. I ate pizza last week. Where did you go yesterday? She didn't come last night. Did you study last weekend? And as you can see here the three different ways. The first part we have one sentence in the affirmative form. The second part we have interrogative form with the double questions. The other one we have the negative form, didn't. And in questions, we don't use do you, you say did you, because the past tense of do is did. So it's not difficult to memorize this or even to learn how to distinguish the difference between do and did. I mean the present and the past. But to facilitate your life by using the past tense, we have some expression, like for example last weekend, I mean last week, last year, last night. Look at the example. I worked last week. Yesterday, she came late to class yesterday. In 1997, I took the bus to school in 1997, a long time ago. 2 weeks ago, he wrote that book 2 weeks ago. Okay, so that's a best form. I mean, the best way to help you in order to understand the past tense of the verb. For example, we have the expression, like for example, last week, last year, last night, last class, and so on. Okay. So let's go on. Well, we also have here the positive form, but remember that to study the past tense of the verb in English, we have to remember that we have two forms. We have regular verbs and irregular verbs. In the regular verb, to make the past tense of the verbs, you add the form ed to the verbs. Like for example, I like, say I liked, liked. Work, worked. But the other verbs are irregular. In the irregular verbs, we have really to memorize the verbs. And here we have some common irregular verbs that you use almost every day. Go, come, have, eat, and drink. In my opinion, it's not really necessary to memorize that big list of the irregular verbs. I guess that you should memorize the verb that you use the most every day, the common verb that you use every day, like for example go, come, have, eat, drink, study, and so on, right? So let's go on. Regular verb. Look at the two examples. I liked that color. I liked that color. I worked hard today. I worked hard yesterday. Irregular verbs. I go to the mall. I went to the mall yesterday. She comes to class. She came to class last night. I have a good book. I had a good book. I eat pizza every day. I ate pizza yesterday. I drink coffee all day. I drank coffee last night. So back to the traditional form, we can conjugate the form of the verb in the past tense like this. For example, I arrived, you arrived, he, she, it arrived, we arrived, you arrived, and they arrived. There is no change. It's very simple. The verb, we use the same form from the first pronoun to the last pronoun, from I to they. The same happened to the irregular verb. Like for example, I came, you came, he came, she came, it came, we came, you came, and they came. So it's very easy to understand this. If you understand this, you're not gonna have problem to use the past tense of the verbs. Negative form. So there is only one observation about the negative form of the verbs in English, is the difference to use. Instead of use don't, use didn't, and the verb continue the same, because we talked about this in the other levels. When you use the auxiliary verbs, the verb never change, continue the same form, right? So like this, for example, I didn't study last night. The change is only in the auxiliary verbs. For example, you say, instead of you say in the present, I don't study today, you say I didn't study last night. Okay, so the same to the irregular verbs. Interrogative form. In the interrogative form, you have to pay attention. We have yes no question and WA question. When you have the yes no question, say you start with the auxiliary verbs. Like for example, did you cook last weekend? Did he cook last weekend? Did she sleep well last night? Remember that I use the auxiliary verbs and the verb never change on. Did cook, did sleep. But we can use some WA question to change the form of asking the question, because you know, since the beginning of the course, we always emphasize the use of yes no question and WA questions. WA question, the question starts with what, where, why, and so on. Look at this example. What did you cook last night? Where did you go last vacation? You see that? So remember this, yes no question and WA question. So it's all for now. I hope that you study and do the following exercise in your book or even in the workbook. Okay, so bye, see you next class.